In this video, we're looking at a brand new tropical system cranking up in the Gulf. Current model forecasts show this thing headed right towards Texas, and it's bringing tons of rain. Then we have not one, not two, but three additional areas to watch for further development as hurricane season has reached its peak. Welcome back, y'all. Ryan Hall here with the weather forecast. In yesterday's video, I asked you guys to tell me how long ago you think this clip was recorded. I started working here after an internship that I did during the summer while I was in college. I was a crew member, a cameraman, and I helped out in the weather center. And a lot of you played along and guessed at how long ago this was, and I learned a lot from your responses. Some of you guys think I'm like 50 years old, and some of you guys think I'm still fresh out of high school, but the vast majority of you got really close, okay? This was filmed on July 29th of 2014, and I was 20 years old. Now, some of you guys have asked, why did you stop? Why are you still not on TV? Well, to be completely honest with you, I just didn't like it. I love weather. Weather is my passion. I absolutely adore it, and I have ever since I can remember. But when you're a TV weatherman, you don't have a lot of creative freedom, and you really don't, your job doesn't involve weather a lot. And you get like 3 minutes on the newscast to, kind of puppet the forecast that the National Weather Service has made for you. And you got to wear makeup and a suit, and it just wasn't for me. So I left that behind and went on to pursue other things until about a year ago, whenever I discovered that I could do the weather on my own terms and do what I love here on YouTube, thanks to you guys. So that's the story of how the weatherman became a YouTuber. And I really do appreciate you guys so much for allowing me to literally live my dream here, because there's nothing I'd rather do than talk about the weather. All right, here's a big old look at the United States of America. And as you can see, once again, not a lot going on out there. But if we take a little trip down to the south, down here in the southern Gulf of Mexico, right next to the Yucatan Peninsula, you see all these thunderstorms popping up. This is associated with that big plume of moisture we've been watching that will eventually turn into some sort of tropical system, whether it's a depression, a tropical storm, or a hurricane. And a lot of the models are showing this going right up towards Texas. So here's the latest 5-day graphical tropical weather outlook from the National Hurricane Center. We have 2 disturbances now coming off of Africa that we have to watch very closely. And we will talk about those more in depth later on in this video, but we're going to start off over here with our storm that has the best potential right now to directly impact the U.S. A tropical wave and an upper level trough are producing a large area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms over portions of Central America, southeastern Mexico, and the adjacent waters of the northwestern Caribbean Sea. And it is expected that this will meander up into the Gulf and form into something over here in the western portion of the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, here we are looking at the Gulf of Mexico now. Here's our big plume of moisture that's going to cause our problems here in the future. We're looking at the Euro model, and let's go ahead and put this into motion, okay? Those thunderstorms are going to get out into the open waters. And remember, the western portion of the Gulf of Mexico is still very hot and warm. Actually, right here in the middle, in this area where Hurricane Ida went, the waters are actually a little cool right now because Hurricane Ida actually did some work to cool the waters off. But we haven't had any sort of activity out here since Hurricane Grace, and the waters are definitely right back there, steamy and ready to form more hurricanes on this side of the Gulf of Mexico. And that's exactly where this plume of moisture is going to go. And look how quickly the Euro has this organizing. You can see that rotation there on the western end, as this is now bringing in heavy rain and thunderstorms into the southern Texas area, all the way onto the coast of Mexico as well. And this is going to ride the border there and then possibly come onto land near Corpus Christi and then just hang out, man. This is where things get a little bit sketchy, okay? From the time this makes landfall until the time it gets out of Texas, we're talking about an extended period of just torrential rain, okay? This is going to be a very bad flooding situation. We don't know exactly yet, who is going to get the worst of it right now, but it looks to me like Corpus Christi up to Houston and then even into central portions of Louisiana, you got to start preparing now for a major flooding event. Because just look at all this moisture from the Gulf of Mexico just getting lofted onto land, and at this point, it's all falling in the form of precipitation. So there is still a chance that this will turn into a hurricane maybe. Maybe we'll also have a storm surge and a high wind problem, but right now it's too early to know that. What we definitely know is that this thing's going to be a rainmaker and a half, okay? So here's a look at the total rainfall from this storm according to the Euro. From Corpus Christi to Houston, all the way to, Lake Charles and Lafayette, Louisiana, well over 10 inches of rain, widespread, okay? And some places could see close to 20 inches of rain, which will lead to catastrophic flooding in some places. Once again, Houston, you're right in the bullseye there. It looks like you are definitely going to get some rain out of this. The good news is that the bulk of the rain won't make it to San Antonio and Austin, and definitely not all the way up to Dallas. So this is definitely going to be a southeastern Texas kind of storm. But man, if you're right there on the coast, prepare for, once again, some of the heaviest rain you've seen in a long time. Once you get over 20 inches of rain, it don't matter where you are. It don't matter how good the water irrigation systems are. It does not matter how close to the coast you are. there's going to be major bad flooding, okay? And especially around Houston, you guys are no stranger to this situation. So it's time to start preparing now for the worst, okay? This storm could bring more rain than this. It could bring less, but it could bring more. So do whatever you can right now to protect your life and property if this is the reality that we have to deal with over the next couple of days. Now remember, today's Saturday. The bulk of the flooding and the heavy rain is going to start around Wednesday and then go all the way through Friday. Okay, Wednesday through Friday, that's when we're expecting the bulk of that rain to come through in this area right here. And the Euro is not the only model showing this, okay? Here's the GFS 18Z from yesterday, 20 inches of rain possible. Here's the 12Z, okay, a little bit better, but still 18 inches of rain possible in southern areas of Louisiana. 18Z brings back the heavy rain threat into southeastern Texas, and the 6Z, okay? So we're definitely gonna be having some heavy rain out here, and it could create some very bad situations. So we're gonna have more on this as we go into the future, but as of right now, that's pretty much all we know. All right, back here to the 5-day graphical tropical weather outlook. We've already talked about this disturbance over here, which will likely become a tropical depression or a tropical storm and bring extreme flash flooding to southeastern Texas and southern Louisiana. But we haven't talked a lot about this, okay? This is going to be an entire tropical weather outlook here. And like I talked about yesterday, we've got a ton of waves, a ton of energy moving off Africa into the Atlantic Ocean. And there is a pattern in place that is likely going to send at least one of these into the Caribbean, or into the Bahamas, and then maybe even into the east coast of the United States, or once again into the Gulf of Mexico. A parade of storms is literally coming off of Africa. It's peak hurricane season, and I'm really kind of concerned as we continue to see these storms come off the coast. As I always say, my job here isn't to scare you, it's to make sure that you're prepared. Don't be scared, be prepared as we continue to talk about all of the possibilities here with these storms as they come closer and closer to the United States. A tropical wave continues to produce a concentrated area of showers and thunderstorms just south of the Cabo Verde Islands. And that's going to continue to form and start to swirl and head west. And even more concerning than that, I talked about this yesterday. There's another storm right behind it that's going to come off of Africa at a lower altitude, okay? So I talked about how we had that high pressure up here that's going to be able to send storms our way. Our saving grace may be that these storms that come up into the Atlantic Ocean above the 15 north line may actually get attracted to that high pressure and curl up like this, but the ones that come in below it have absolutely no reason to head right towards the east coast of the United States or to the Caribbean. So at this point, it's this one right here that I am most concerned about. Okay, so what we're looking at right now are the Euro tropical cyclone probabilities. So this takes all of the different members of the Euro ensembles and it puts together a graphic for us that shows us where the most likely areas for tropical cyclone formation or continuation are. And then right here at the beginning, you can see we've got a pretty good area of concern over here in the Gulf of Mexico that we've been talking about. Similarly, we have a pretty decent area of increased probability here just off the coast of Africa. And then we've got one more down here that's coming off of Africa. And then I think that, after that one, we're going to even have another one. But what we can do is we can put this into motion. Okay, so here we are by September 14th, and here we are by September 15th. And what you're noticing here is that obviously our storm over here is moving onto land in Mexico and Texas. The northernmost tropical system is kind of losing steam as it may be affected by that high pressure to the north. But this one down here, man, this one is continuing to grow and it's continuing to point right in the direction where we don't want it to go. So let's go all the way out here to Friday, September 17th at 8 p.m. Once again, this bad boy right here is on a trajectory to get right into the Lesser Antilles and then eventually the Caribbean. And, we'll see what happens with it from there. And then unfortunately, another wave is right behind it. And we can go all the way out until Monday, September 20th. And as you can see, that one storm that came off under the 15 north line is still out here, and it's still likely going to be a tropical cyclone as it gets to the Lesser Antilles. Now, you might be thinking, well, this is only a 50% chance. The probability is shrinking as we go later on into the future. And that's just typical, okay? This is 9 days away. The fact that we have a 50% confidence that we're gonna have some sort of system out here in this part of the Atlantic Ocean this far out is not good news, okay? But I do think that this is going to be one we have to watch very closely as we go into the future. Now, you might have missed this. Did you see this? This pops up here around Thursday, September 16th. The GFS and the Euro are actually showing something maybe popping up here north of the Bahamas and going towards the Carolinas here during this time frame. Let's check that out real quick. All right, now we're looking at the GFS and we're zoomed in here on the East Coast. Here's what we're talking about, okay? The GFS just picked this up on the last couple runs. It's showing a, tropical storm possibly forming here and then impacting the Carolinas, maybe North Carolina, South Carolina, and then riding up the coast there, bringing lots of heavy rain to the Delmarva area, all the way up through Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, and of course then into New England. So this doesn't look very impressive right now, but this is how it always starts, man. 2 or 3 days from now, this could end up being something very significant, or it could completely go away. So this is, once again, another area of interest that we have to watch as we go forward. So the moral of the story here on today's video is going to be, if you're on the East Coast of the United States, down here in the Caribbean islands, or even in the Gulf of Mexico, it's time to, work on your hurricane preparedness plan. Some tips that I have for you is, for one, make sure you keep trees and stuff trimmed down around your house. This is something a lot of people overlook during hurricane season, but, literally going outside and keeping potential projectiles away from your house could save you thousands of dollars in damage in the future. Make sure you have the proper materials on hand for if you need to board up windows. Make sure you have a plan or some sort of place to put loose outdoor items inside so that they don't become, flying debris like patio furniture and stuff like that. And then most of all, make sure you have a plan. Write it down. Make a Google doc about it or something. Make sure you know exactly what you're going to do step by step if that cone of uncertainty from the National Hurricane Center makes it onto where you live. It's not always that you have a week's notice before a storm hits you. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 days. So just do whatever you can to be prepared. And that's all the weather talk I have for you today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Slap that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn them notifications on. I will probably see you tomorrow. It depends on what the new developments are here. But if things continue to look bad or worse, I'm going to be here and I'm going to be keeping you updated throughout the entire thing, okay? So make sure you share this video and my channel with your friends and family members who may live in the affected areas so we can all get through this together. All right, I gotta go now. See ya. Goodbye.